shows up, there won't be much point in having a meeting.
Robin's sitting out in the hallway.
Robin is?
Yeah,
Charlie's out there.
Charlie's out there too.
Yeah.
With a bunch of chairs. I thought maybe the meeting moved out there. Or he's practicing for his Zen-man position.
Those are the, yeah, there you go. Those chairs belong to the assessor. It's our time of the year.
Line him up.
I can always tell her. I can always tell when it's time for people to come in and take care of their, you know, their what do you call it, stink stuff there. They all line up, all the older folks.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There's big blanks and big blanks, and I emailed them and went, what the hell happened? They went,
Dan's not supposed to be here,
we
Okay.
were waiting for you to let us.
and I haven't heard anything from Norm, so I don't know what's going on with him.
We lost stuff. You
Puts a lot
lost
of pressure on our shoulders, doesn't it?
I tell you. Well, once Robin comes in, we'll get
Here's
started.
some chats here.
Well, here's
Chat man.
Trustee Zay.
Remain seated. There's a group out there. I don't know what they're doing. Greg and Robin and Charlie. Yeah.
There's 3 meetings now. We have one out there and one in here and one in here.
Robin's just waiting for me.
Everything. You just take your picture. Pardon me? Your computer? No, don't. That's okay.
What's going on?
Bringing a lawnmower down?
No lawnmower this time.
Okay.
The Wi-Fi password changed. If you need help, I can put it in for you.
Dan's not here.
Oh,
Yeah, Dan's not
I'm okay.
coming.
I'm okay.
She's
I
plugged in
tablet
over there.
again. Yeah, the battery was low, so I'll just leave it. Thank you.
Okay, now being about almost 2 minutes after 6, call the meeting to order. Would you please stand, join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a seat, please. And we do have one gentleman here who would like to talk to us about next Christmas. As if it didn't go fast enough.
Yeah, it seems a little early, but for those that don't know me, I'm Kurt Lorman. I put the tree up on the top of the building here for Christmas.
I like that.
Thank you.
Nice job.
And I've gotten a lot of compliments and a lot of nudges to go bigger. So I'm here to propose going bigger. Unfortunately, my wallet, that was donated this year by my family, but my wallet can't get much deeper. So if everybody would like it, I need some support, I guess. So I've come up with some more ideas. Obviously, decorate this building much more because it seems to work well. Everything's elevated, can't be tampered with. Maybe possibly placing some more trees on top. I have a video if you wanted to get more of an idea, but this is just the general start of the ball rolling. But I also had a suggestion of doing something for Main Street for Winter in the Village, with the light poles and or the storefronts. I've done some research, and I would be able to. I have what they would call an FM transmitter that would be placed probably here in this building. And I used it for Dawn and Wayne Stanley's for the Halloween show. This transmitter can transmit anything I play on it from here, from Dawn's house all the way up to the auto auction and all the way down to White Bridge Road.
Wow.
So anywhere.
That little thing right there.
That little guy right there. So
Loud and clear.
any station I put it on, other than probably 93.9, it would match that out. But as people drive into town, I would have a sign that says to tune to our lights, and then on Main Street, at the top of the hour, I would have all the street lights going with the music. And if I can get the support of the storefront owners on Main Street, I would, provide them with a wireless receiver. and I would probably set the transmitter up here on this building because it's nice and tall. And it would transmit probably roughly around a quarter-mile radius around here. So it would get the whole mainline district. And it would, all the lights on the entire town would flash back and forth. Again, I got a YouTube video for that too if you want to see it. But it comes with, I think it would be very beneficial for the town or the village in the businesses. I mean, it would bring people in, you know, well, it's 7 o'clock, you know, the show will be starting. Come into town, watch the lights, and have dinner, or, you know, watch a movie or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think that this little town needs something a little bit more. You know, just the light show that I brought at Dawn and Wayne's for Halloween. I had people from Warsaw, people from Rochester, Lyons, actually, you know, over an hour away just to come down to watch a 15-minute show. So if I did the whole town, you know, or a good portion of the town, I think, you know.
What would it run you to do Main Street? Just the lights on the poles?
The lights on the poles, I mean, it could be any, like the whole show could range anywhere, you know, if you were to pay somebody, it would be probably 10, 20 grand. You're not, obviously, we're not going that big. Not yet. But,
So it gave me a heart attack.
yeah, I failed to mention, I went to the town last night at their meeting and proposed it, and they were on board, but it's going to have to be a joint effort between the town, village, and some of the business owners, and myself, of course. Something like this, I would like to try and raise anywhere between $4,000 and $5,000. I can do a lot with less, but for it to, you know, basically I would cover the materials and I would donate my time, which is going to be several hundred hours. You know, it's being the first year, it's going to be trial and error. I need to start early, that's why I'm here today in January. Once I get, you know, parts ordered, I want to be able to test because I don't want to look like a fool. You know, I want the town to look nice. Like I said, most everything I do usually makes the newspaper or, you know, Ram 13 News like the show did. So
In a positive way, I'm assuming.
yes, well, the 20s is a bit different, but that's not okay. I've had kids, so it's a little bit different story now.
Changes, huh?
Yeah, slightly. So, I mean, it's something, the numbers can be fluctuated. It's whatever we can put together. 5,000 is my target number. If we only can get 3, I can do a hell of a show with 3. But, you know, 5 I could, you know, and there's offset costs. I've thought of ways. I don't know if everyone's seen my other things that I've made, but I've got grids that, like one Shannon Greason's made at the front of his house, where I can scroll lettering, or it's almost like a ticker tape on like Times Square. I would have one of those out front, and each show would be sponsored by a local business or an individual, and we could, you know, nightly $50 or whatever, you know, set a number. And tonight's show is, you know, by Rogers and Tenbrook or Five Star Bank. So to try and offset some of this cost, because I know that when you think $5,000 for Christmas lights, you've got to be out of your mind. But if you were to go to holidaycoro.com and try and buy that mega tree that I put up, it's over $4,000. You know, plug and play. I was able to build it for less than $1,000.
Would you still have that out there as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm going to donate all my lights. I've got a lot more lights than just that, but you know, especially for this first year, I'm going to help. You know, use all my controllers, use everything I can do until we can build bigger. Roughly, the controllers that would control Main Street would be, materials would be around $60 a piece. You know, and I could go. You know, I wanted to check for permission from the town and the village first before I went to each business owner and said, this is what I'm trying, would you be willing to participate? And maybe they, you know, all they would have to do is put their Christmas lights up like they normally do, and I would just come in, plug it in, and set the numbers, so when it broadcasts, you know, each house has its own number, where it would, you know, 4 of their lights would do their own thing. So it's, I could pretty much like run a wave all the way up and down Main Street, and whatever, you know, whatever you can dream up, basically, it's becoming a reality.
So you're saying 5,000 total?
5,000 total.
So if you got the town and the village, and we can get a bunch of other people to
Yeah.
participate.
I know that the Lions Club said that they'd be interested in donating some money. I would talk to the Rotary. you know, Chamber of Commerce.
Skip
Was it-
give 500.
We're gonna have a challenge contest.
My,
I'm gonna lose.
as far as, I would need part of the town's help with collection of money, I think. For me to set up like a GoFundMe, I don't think people are gonna feel comfortable, because I've had plenty of people come to me and say, how can I donate? And I am like, I really don't wanna take your money yet. I wanna try and make sure I can even do this first. So if, you know, if we had some sort of an account that people could donate to, I'm sure that would help offset costs too. Like I said, this is all just preliminary. Things can be worked around and moved, but
Yeah, it's something we have to be careful with. We've been told not to get involved in GoFundMe
yeah, I don't want to do GoFundMe. I'd rather have,
or any kind of fundraising from the village's standpoint.
Sure. yeah. Well, I mean, it's,
But we certainly, I don't think we have a, I don't know, other board members can weigh in here if you want to. I think it's a great idea.
yeah,
That's a good idea.
Something to talk about, and maybe we can come up with a way of getting with the merchants and stuff now.
Yeah.
Let them know
yeah,
that we're in the favor of them.
right,
Something
yeah, because
like
I don't, if they don't hear nothing about it from the town, and just some random guy comes up and says, hey, give me $75 to,
Well, we can
Decent
certainly
control,
put
right?
that out there. That's not a problem.
right. Just to give you an idea, I started in August with my Halloween show, and that was a rushed. I should have started earlier. I mean, I was up until 3 a.m. trying to get it finished before the October 15th deadline. Something of this magnitude, I want to start, you know, early summer, you know, June. And I'm not saying setting up Christmas lights, I'm just saying get a transmitter up on the roof here and go and see how far I can go. The paperwork and documentation online says a half a mile, which would reach all the way to Rittenhouse's house. But will it do that? You know, I don't want to give false hopes. So, but I won't. You know, if the money's given or provided, I won't disappoint. I know that. I did this stuff here just for free, just so people could enjoy it, and you know, it was worth it. I liked that. As I was sitting here programming at first, I had to do it from a Wi-Fi router, so I had to get close to the building. You could see the people pull in, 5-6 cars pull over, turn the lights
Yeah, I was
off.
one of
Nobody gets
those.
out, but they sit there for 20 minutes, and you know. So I know that a lot of people enjoyed it, and I think that it would be a huge success for the town, or village, or what have you. So.
I think it's a great idea. How'd the town react to that, Greg?
They were in favor of it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say you had it out here in the building, so I would assume so.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's more details. Obviously, if something of this size, you're going to want something in writing. I would like something in writing. And, you know, I know that there was a whisper of liability or insurance of how it kind of popped up in the middle of the night like a mushroom and went down in the middle of the night like a mushroom. But I overbuilt it just so it would be safe. But if we get something bigger like that, I would like some sort of a liability. And if it's something that I carry on myself, like I started a small business, which I've considered doing, I would carry insurance. But, I mean, I would have to offset that a little bit, you know. So, it's all things to think about.
I don't think that's that big an issue. We can check with our insurance people, but I would
Sure.
think that we should be able to sponsor stuff like that.
Right, yeah. It's just all things that I've thought about that, you know, I wouldn't normally think about 10 years ago, of course.
It's a great idea.
So,
I like that idea on Main Street.
yeah,
It was great here, so I can only imagine what would be out there.
I don't know if I'd go 100% pixels, which that was a pixel tree. It would be more incandescent or LED, what they call dumb lights. They're just, they don't do anything spectacular. This would be pixel at that $5,000 target.
Yeah.
You know, if we have to go lower, then I might have to offset and put some incandescence and go a little more.
So you would provide the lights and everything?
Yes, yeah. With that amount, I would buy the lights and do everything. Basically, my labor is free. You know, for the first year until we can buy the materials. I would store the materials at my house. I've got quite a large shop that I've built. Plus, I don't think anyone else is really gonna wanna run them anyway. That stuff gets
Something
cut.
like $5,000, and that would be the materials, and those would be our materials at your store, and we could do this one
It would be,
year after year, as long as we paid you for your labor or whatnot.
yeah, I would say it would be like almost like a leasing of lights. Because if I don't take care of these lights, I don't know what happens to them. And you know what Christmas lights are. If you don't take care of them properly, you pull them out the next year, they're this and that, and you're whipping them and.
So the following year would be a little less price, unless you want to keep the same, go bigger. or
Yeah,
whatever.
I would like to go add new things, like, there's a thing where you would have a grid, which is basically like a TV, where you can text a number or a message, and it would go through, obviously, like you can't just type whatever, but if you said, the best wishes from, you can be able to write messages and stuff on it, and there's just a lot of different things you can do. Obviously, we're not gonna be able to do that this year. It's gonna be quite an overtaking, but I'd like to keep adding. There's new things coming out all the time, but if we decided, okay, this is big enough, we could probably work on the price, we could buy, or if the year's bad and we just can't raise that amount, I'm willing to work with everyone, so.
I think it's a great idea.
5,000 is gonna be, basically materials the first year. It really is. And I would still probably, because I just want it to be as big as I can possibly get it to be, I would still donate all my materials anyway, but at some point, stuff does have to get replaced. These pixels they last a lot longer. They can be used, and they use a fraction of the power that everything else does. I mean, I ran that off a lamp cord off your power supply, and it's 9,000 lights. You try to run 9,000 lights on an incandescent, you trip a 15-amp breaker. So.
Call the fire department.
Yeah, that thing had been cooked, but it really is amazing what they've come up with, and it's quite a learning process. I mean, I started last February for my wedding in June, and I was right to the last second trying to get it done. So I've learned to start early. So it's, I know this process of collaborating and joining together is going to take a few months. So I figured I'd start now, but I guess I won't take the floor anymore. It's basically what I got. I'll get some contact information so we, if I need to come to another meeting or what have you, you've got my contact information.
Okay.
So.
I guess the question I have is, we're looking at buying some snowflake, candle, candy cane type lights for about every other pole out on Main Street. Would that impact any of this at all?
No, I mean, it would only add to it, but if, I've heard that the prices are quite high,
Oh, they are.
and I think that's ridiculous, the amount of price that you're gonna pay.
That's why we're only thinking every other one, not every
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, you've got 20 lights in between the two, and I think there's 12 down there, and there's 9 down here. And, because I've been doing my own math, it's up there, but not $300 up there, or whatever
Yeah.
the price is. So
Okay.
I can make those poles change any color I want in sequence with a song for less than $300. So per pole anyways. But
That might help answer that question.
there you go.
I was gonna say, I've been working since September, and it just got wiped out, I think.
Well, not necessarily. We could still do it on a smaller scale, or we could just go ahead and have it and just.
Maybe it'd be cheaper.
If you go to Holiday, if you buy those things outright, they are $300. That's not a bad price. I mean, it's an 8-foot tree of that size is $1,700 for a full 360. It's $900 for a 10-foot tree that's half. I mean, and half looks stupid. I tried a half and it looks retarded. So I made it look right. There was just on that tree alone, the price of the lights was $660. There's 3 power inverters, a controller, and a main memory. And so, even with me scrounging, it was still almost $1,000 worth of materials. But, seeing several kids' faces light up was worth it.
A lot of adults too.
Yeah, I've had more than my fair share of elderly lady come up and say, "Dear, that's just the nicest thing ever." So I got the thumbs up. So. But like I said, I won't waste any more time. We'll get on to other matters. But thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? I appreciate it. Thank you. I think it's a great idea. You can stay or you can leave. You can do whatever you want.
I'm gonna stay for a minute.
Okay. Oh, get over here to my. All right. Just a few comments as far as I'm concerned. I will be attending the NICOM Winter Legislative Conference on the February 11th, 12th, and 13th. Actually, the 13th we will be going and meeting with our assemblymen and senators. I don't know if any of you got a copy of this, or if I send it out. It's a 3-day event, as I said. The first day, which is Sunday, they're going to have breakout sessions for finance, community revitalization, employee relations, energy, and environment. And that starts at 4:30, so obviously we're only probably going to be able to get one in. It only goes for an hour, so I'll have to figure out which ones I want. And on Monday, we're just chock full of all kinds of stuff all day long. As I said, on Tuesday, then we go to the legislative building and meet our assemblyman and our senator. So, got anything you think I might ought to be asking them besides give us some more money? If the town would like to throw it in, I'll listen. We can bring it up to Kathy or Joe. But anyway, so doing that. And also on February 6th at the Genesee River Restaurant and Reception Center, the gal who did the study for downtown, and they came back here with, what was that, October, November timeframe. She came around had several locations in the county. They're going to have a report on that, and then that'll last about an hour. Then afterwards, they're going to break down into breakout sessions for each of, I think it was 4 communities that she took a look at, and that will go from about 7 to 9. So we get to talk a little bit more about the particulars of the study during those sessions as it relates to Dansville. Did Denny bring that up at all, or has he? No. If you want to go, you just go on the Economic Development Office's website, or you can ask me about it. I can forward the email to you.
I think we got it.
May have, and then on there it just tells you where to register. You just click it up, and that's for the one over at the Genesee River. On the 24th, during the regular supervisors meeting in Geneseo, they're going to have sort of an abbreviated presentation to the Board of Supervisors. So if anybody's down that way, like maybe Trustee Zay or Trustee Rittenhouse, they can probably stop in and get a quick overview there. That's a Wednesday at 1:30, I believe, is when they meet. So with that, I think we can go on now into our committee meetings and under legislative. How about action items? Clerk Aldrich? Anything changed?
Nothing has changed, and I don't think I added anything from the last meeting. I was just going to pull up the list real quick. I did just put up today, I'm going to start doing a monthly report for myself to the board and other department heads, and that'll have a lot of the key items on the action items list on it also. So that'll just be another reference for everybody. But, oh, here it is. I don't think we've taken anything off either. No, it's all still the same.
Okay. One thing we'll need to go over is the community development block grant we just got there for the $500,000 for rental properties. Probably should have the board go ahead and accept that, and then I'll have to sign off on it, send it back, and that will give Megan and Party down there in the office a chance to get going with TOMA and doing what we have to do through them. getting people signed up for it. This will probably take a little harder sell than the housing rehabs went. But it's an opportunity. And I just want to point out something. There's been some, I wouldn't say misinformation, but certainly limited information about this program. A lot of people have voiced objections to it because they say, well, these are landlords that are making money and they ought to fund it all. But of course, the state's giving away the money, so why shouldn't we take it? But more importantly, I think, is the fact that we get back 50% of what is granted out to the property owners. That comes directly to the village over a 5-year period. I'm not sure exactly how all the details to it. So out of the $500,000, the village, theoretically anyway, would end up with $250,000 that we can throw into a revolving fund to use to help take care of some of these dilapidated properties that have been abandoned or or vacant here in the community. And I think that's a great idea, and I give Megan a lot of credit for pursuing that one. So we'll work on that one next week. And just as a heads up on the Restore New York grant that we were applying through the county with, the 5th round for the King's Daughters, that is sort of bit the dust because talking with Bill Bacon, he talked with the people from Albany on that, the Restore New York folks, and without a specific purpose for that building, that program probably wouldn't fly. They'll tear it down for you without anything to follow, but as far as restoring it, then not too up on that. It has to be something like, well, I say, either destroy something or pull down something like, say, the old shoe factory, or build up something like the brewery that has a specific purpose for it. All the county was looking at was getting the funds so they could condition it so it would be saleable. Yeah. So they were told, well, you could go ahead and submit it, but you'd probably be wasting your time. They said you'd probably have a better chance if you went through the consolidated funding application process, which is the several districts, what is it, 10 districts here in the regions in the state, and they pour all that money into it and compete for it. I don't see that as being very helpful either, so what we need to do is maybe try to find somebody that has an idea for it, which is what we've been doing all along. It just doesn't seem to be getting anywhere.
The right ears haven't heard it.
Pardon?
The right ears haven't heard it yet.
Well, I had one group that was interested, but then they thought it was going to take too much money. But if, on the other hand, they want to revisit it, I'm going to hit them up again with the idea that they could apply for a state grant, and that might be a little more of an incentive. It would be essentially the same use that it's had. It would be a facility for senior citizens.
Sure.
That would probably go okay up in that neighborhood. That's the other thing you always have to concern yourself.
It's a beautiful area.
It is. And lots of deer up there. I can tell you that. Greg knows.
Keep them in.
You could only discharge a firearm in the village, right?
What about a bow?
I don't know, are bows included?
Yeah.
Okay.
What a night.
You go, Rambo.
You can get them with your car.
We have.
Just put a big crash bar in the front of it. Okay, codification. You want to talk anything about that? Megan, you've been in the forefront of it all in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can let you all know, Charlie and I have taken pretty much the brunt of that. So we've had several days where we've worked through, we've revised laws, we've rewritten laws, went through, answered the questions. Everything is uploaded to the share folder, though it's not complete. But probably by the time you guys are done reviewing what is complete, we'll have the rest up there with it. But I put everything up there so you can even see what's not done. Do you have anything to say on the codification? We talked with the mayor, and we did decide that at this point, we're gonna do the majority of it in-house. There's gonna be another opportunity for review once we give it to them on March 2nd. at some point it'll come back to us, there'll be another opportunity for review, and that's when we'll give any questions that we have to John Vogel, the village attorney, with that, but for now, we're just gonna keep it in-house.
Yeah, the idea is, see, that has to go to general code by March 2nd. It's not going to give us a lot of time, and prior to that, we've basically got to have a public hearing on it. So, if I'm not mistaken,
That can happen, that will happen later on.
that will happen later on, okay. So,
After the February deadline.
So, which is really
at some
needs to
point,
happen.
we have to approve it as basically a new law,
Oh, okay.
and that's how it gets approved. It goes online.
Yeah, and before the March 2nd deadline, we all have to just be on the same page. You know, if you guys can look at it, ask questions, if you agree or disagree with something that we've selected or written up. We did try to provide some of our research materials also for reference. But just as long as the board agrees prior to it going to general code, then
Yeah, I misspoke a minute ago. What I was thinking about was the water and sewer laws.
yes.
They have to be.
Because
Yeah,
we
we'll
do,
talk about that tonight.
we do need for those to be approved in February so that we can include those with the general code book on March 2nd. And that's where the public
That way we'll
hearing.
have everything in there at one time, get it taken care of. And then when they get it all approved and John sees it for the last time, and then we'll put it on the website and people will be able to research it. And I know these two have found out a lot about the laws they didn't know. It's just there's so much in there, you really almost need a college degree to get through it.
I definitely underestimated the time of what I thought it was gonna take, and it's definitely not the job where you can't cross-reference and read everything and put it together at the same time by yourself. You gotta have two people going at it back and forth, and she's got the tech side, I'm reading it, she's teching it out, and so it's time.
Scott and Tammy have certainly contributed to it as well, so it's been a good process, working, since we're now getting towards the end.
You mentioned the website, it's nice. It's a nice website,
Yeah, still learning it,
where you can navigate and do
Mhm.
different things.
a lot easier than the old one. And have you looked at it on on your cell phone?
No,
It comes up nice on that too. So, all kinds of good stuff. Okay, anything else on codification? We'll jump right on down to, we got contract negotiations coming up with both unions. I have reached out, well, CSEA reached out to me first, and I've responded back to them. And I sent another one to the DPOA myself to initiate that. And yesterday, Shannon was up here and we talked a little bit. So I think we're in a start mode. My concern is with all of the questions coming out of Albany and Washington with the tax reform and the state looking at a $2 to $4 billion deficit. I don't know how, well, we're going to have to be real careful, I guess. And I'm a little concerned about that, plus the negotiations on the contract. So we'll see how all of that goes. And Megan, did you put the Cold War Veterans Exemption thing in the sheriff folder?
I did,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
And that will be modification to we have a local law for that, so we'll have to modify that,
Right,
I believe, prior to March, so that'll be for next month.
yep. So take a look at that. It's pretty much the standard stuff we've done. They've just got a little modification. Well, it makes it permanent, doesn't it?
I think
That-
10 years, does it extend to 10 years?
I thought it went
The
from
first one was 10 years.
10 years, and I think now they're making it
Now we'll
permanent.
make it permanent, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. And let's see, and there's also a request in there for records destruction request. So we can vote on that next week. It's just more of what we've been doing. They took out a lot of boxes last week. A lot of boxes.
And then we held off on a lot of them because we were filling the dumpster too. And then we'll get at the ones that we need to shred next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go to public safety. Trustee Nagel, all yours.
Well, let's start out with something easy. How about code enforcement?
I'm sorry I didn't get my report to you guys until I emailed it like 3 o'clock today. It's, end of the year, so it's really thick, because I have to turn around and do a 6-page report to the state listing all permits issued, all permits completed, all fire inspections done, everything. So that's kind of just a rundown of that. Violations are ongoing work. I've done more violations this year than I've ever done in 10 years. But just to give everybody a heads up, the barn on Claire Barton Street is going to be tore down. They'll be tore down probably, I know that was a question last month. I issued a violation and said, repair or replace the roof, and they called and said, we got it, we're going to just tear the building down. So, I tried to, if you look at the violation list that I emailed to you, I tried to write right next to every single thing, if it was closed, if it's, you know, had an appearance ticket issued or what the violation was about. So if you have any questions, just feel free to email me or call me. And then I sent you all a second email that's probably trivial now about
Not necessarily.
the greatest prices that we can possibly get right now on light pole decorations.
Still.
That,
So- Huh?
yeah, plug and play, that's exactly what they cost.
But
And
they're,
that's
yeah,
what
like
you
they're
need.
like $2.75 a piece.
Yeah,
So,
that's, you're not far off.
so,
But
and they don't play; they just plug.
that's, I was scratching my head trying to find prices for you.
Shocking.
So, does anybody have any questions of me? I don't have anything like shocking to say to give you, hey, guess what's starting? Because we don't have anything right at the moment. So, does anybody have any questions?
Okay.
No.
Done everything I've got on there.
That's a good thing.
I was doing marching orders last week, but I'm working on it, just haven't, you're not going to see anything yet on the report, you'll see it next month, to look into a local zoning law about front porches and what should be on and what shouldn't be, and so that's what I'm going to be doing for the next month, looking at everybody's front porch, and if anybody has anything on the front porch, give it on.
Get rid of it.
Well, as long as it's, if it's something that's not supposed to be there,
You're only
like,
supposed to have, you know, furniture made for outdoor use, so.
No couches there.
Summertime. Can't a couch in the summertime out there?
we've had those over in the gazebo. Okay.
Gas grills.
On single-family owner-occupied homes, you can put a gas grill on your front porch. It'd be kind of stupid to actually do that because it's the combustion. But,
Well, I want your pay raise.
you know, I'm just telling you, don't do it, okay? Put them off your house. These guys do a great job, but just don't put them there.
Greg, it only happens during football season.
Keep it out the driveway. Just move it off the
Have a
driveway.
little insight.
All right, okay, we'll move along.
Thank you, Tammy. We'll go right to the fire department.
No, the only thing I had was on the truck and stuff, where we're gonna stand with that. But
Well, that's, I think we need to have the full board here on that decision. It's, I don't, it's a doable thing.
next week.
What's there was a discount on that, right?
Oh, I don't even know.
I thought there, if we did by, the last time we didn't follow through with it.
It was just on the chassis.
Uh-huh.
On the last one, it was like $8,000 or $6,000, I'm
Hey.
not real sure.
Well, there's the lights right there.
Was
Don't
it
go
was
with
the
the bad,
last
you
dollar
can get
that we
Christmas
were
lights.
looking
Yes.
at? If the chassis is paid for upon arrival at the plant in Lyon, South Dakota, then deduct $4,831.
That's still pretty much your whole program right there.
It'll be a punch bag about
Yeah, I just need to talk to the salesman, let him know when we might be able to have
Okay.
decisions.
We should have hopefully a decision next week. I know that's top of the list.
Okay, thank you.
May, my report, I sent it in. The program is finally coming up, so bear with me with times on responding. I'm finally able now to start entering reports, so I can get them into the state. For December, we had a total of 17 calls. Total for the whole year was 266 going through. Mutual aid, year to date, we gave mutual aid 44 for the year and received 8. I'm not gonna go down individual ones, you guys have the reports if you want it, unless you got any questions with fires and stuff like that. In the village, total calls we responded to in the village for the year was 142. In the town was 31, and town part of Steuben County was 30, and then the mutual aid companies. We did go up to Osh a little bit more than usual, we went up to 11 times, since we got that territory. And then going up towards Canaseraga and Arkport area, it's going up that way. We had one new member finish BFO, which is the basic exterior fire class, and he plans on going on to firefighter 1. I was on the phone with another new gentleman who's joined. He should be at our meeting tonight, so which is good. As I said, we're still, and I'm going to keep on mentioning, having problems with the radios. At the chief's meeting, I'm sorry, Norm. You're not in charge of it anyway. You got, so.
That's a town problem.
To be honest, it's everybody's problem. Just one of these days, something's gonna
They got the
happen.
tower. We're supposed to get the tower.
Well, I was at the chief's meeting Thursday night, I was talking to an old man from the dispatch, and he mentioned something about they can't go with the microwave, so they might go with the fiber optic that's up there. And I guess there was something else going on with a state grant with a light that was on the pole or something that was supposed to be brought in. I don't know if you heard anything on that. So he told me April or May. I did ask him what year. He didn't really care for that when I said that to him. But I've been hearing that, well, September, then it's gonna be October. And it's hard to tell my guys what's going on. And the police department has the same problem. The ambulance, I know you guys have the same problem.
Sure go, all the
And
time.
it's noted, I bring it up at every meeting,
I know.
Kevin Edelmeyer looks at me, and he's like, I know. But there's nothing else we can do, we just gotta wait, they're working on it. So, and that is all I have in a nutshell.
How about your fundraiser tomorrow night?
Oh yes, Union Holes, anybody want tickets? I have some tickets on me, $8 a ticket. It goes to, if I'm not mistaken, to the scholarship fund. And it's a chicken and biscuit. Kent does a good job.
Is it over at the Union Hose?
Yep,
Okay.
it's takeout or you can eat it at Union Holes.
Okay.
5 to 7.
Buy them at the door?
If I'm at the door, I can run down to my car and get you some. So whatever you want.
Check with the boss.
$8 a ticket.
Okay.
For a good meal. And a good course too, so it helps out the kids at the school.
You called this morning, didn't you, 7:30ish? somewhere?
Yeah, we had a car accident, I believe, this morning. And then we had somebody, some elderly person, I think got hit. I was up in the city working, so I think somebody backed out of their driveway, hit somebody. Is that Monday?
No, it's
Yeah,
Monday.
okay. Yeah,
I think the car accident was up in the Butter Bowl or somewhere, wasn't it?
yeah,
I
I
think it
did,
was up there
yeah.
by Cookies.
Bunch of sirens anyway.
Yeah, Danville Dental had something today.
That's just one day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is something I got, I
City
heard it on the
of
radio
Danville.
coming
Big
home.
city.
And then they
You
refused
should
to.
get a grant then,
read it.
right?
So I gotta go down and talk to the person that's running Danville Dental, saying, if it's that serious that you're calling the fire department out, you need to evacuate.
Yeah.
You know, have them spit in a bowl and get out, or whatever. You know? Just don't tell us we're not getting out. 'Cause
That
who-
would be sad.
And who knows what it can be,
Yeah. Better safe than sorry.
yeah. So I
You
gotta go
get
down.
grants, Greg, where's,
It's like pulling teeth
that's
to get them out
done
of there.
then.
Yeah, the grant,
Boo.
Sorry. Gotta go get the kids.
Good job, thank you.
yeah, we got notice that they actually ran out of funding, so The grant did get turned down, so, actually it was farther than we've ever been. Usually we get it after 6 rounds, and we made it in past the
Seven's a good
15th or
number.
17th, so.
Seven's a good number. Try
So we'll
for
see.
seven.
Lucky sevens, huh?
She's gotta be there somewhere.
Continue to look though.
Yeah.
And like I said, last month, I did get awarded the 10,000 to fix that building up in the back of the truck house.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna start moving forward. So they ordered, I already got all the stuff. But we're not doing anything structural anymore, we're just putting up shelving. It's gonna be for equipment, for training, shelving, things like that. And the lady was good enough to work with me to go back to July last year, give us till November. So the windows that we put in, that'll help us get reimbursed and everything. help
Okay, great.
Towards it.
Just one last thing. What time's it start tomorrow night?
5 to 7.
5 to 7? Okay.
That's why I was like, Mike Bradley was wrapping my tickets up. So you know how quick that one.
He was on the new WDNY this morning.
It's
Classic rock.
Classic rock.
Okay.
But that's all I got.
It's even got news on it now. It didn't have it.
Last week's news.
It's got several
Yeah.
news.
I enjoy it.
Yep, anyway, I did. Okay.
It's not like listening to him.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yep. Move on to the ambulance side.
Thank you, Peg.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
And we welcome Mr. Brockington and
Everybody knows
Mr.
me.
Wolf.
Everybody knows me. I'm Larry Brockington. I'm the Director of Operations for Dansville Ambulance. And this is Mr. Skip Wolf, our Vice President. And he's here to kind of back me up today. I'm getting acclimated to my new position. So basically, as far as our reports go this month, right now they're incomplete. I do have some information for you guys. I'm waiting on stuff from the county before I can complete them. And she hasn't emailed me back as of yesterday. So but basically, as far as our calls go, you want me to just go down through the towns and read them out? Like these guys did?
Whatever the pleasure of the board is.
Okay, go ahead. All right, I'll go through what you got, Mary. Okay, so basically for December, we responded to 5 calls in the town of Dansville. Glasses on. Town of Groveland, we responded to 4 calls. Town of North Dansville, we went to 12 calls. Austin, we went to 2 calls. Town of Sparta, we responded to 12, none in Springwater. We did 1 in Wayland, 7 in West Sparta, 1 in the village of Cancerega. In the village of Dansville, we did 62. Village of Mount Morris, we went to 2, village of Nunde, none, and the village of Wayland, 2. Okay. As far as hospitals went, Bath VA, we didn't go there, didn't go to Thompson. 5 trips to Highland, 67 to Noyes. We had 34 refusals and standbys, combined. Rochester General, we had 2 trips, none to St. James. Why St. Mary's is here, I don't know, because they don't accept the ambulances, they're not even a hospital anymore. Strong Hospital, we did 3 trips, Unity none, and Wyoming County 3. Okay, so that's about all I really have for you guys right now as far as report stuff goes, until the county sends me our statistics so I can get those incorporated.
That's happened before.
So my question to you guys, being new and getting acclimated to this position, what do you guys expect from me when I come to this meeting, or whoever I might designate?
Wow.
You're just a monthly report of basically is what we're interested in.
Got anything else like wanting a new ambulance and stuff like that? We need to know about those sort of things. I know
Yeah, we want-
Jerry had already talked about that.
Those are things
We'll certainly enlighten you as to how we look at it. And
Those are things that we discussed as
Yeah.
equipment, buildings.
And stuff like that takes time, so
Yeah.
if you're thinking that you gotta start early,
No, we want it now.
Scott can tell you it takes a while.
well, that's dream big.
Yeah. It just takes time.
Go big or go home, right?
Yeah.
Always keep us updated on things, especially things that
Yeah. If you're having a problem making calls, if you're having
Matter what.
issues with volunteers, not having enough volunteers, whatever, just so we're aware of what's going on.
Basically, our only issue is, like Glenn said, the radio thing. The radios aren't working properly. ever since the new CAD system, the rip and run has gone to hell, pardon my French, but it has. Basically, we're not getting, we'll get the calls broadcast, and then, you know, there's nothing else afterwards, and, you know, we'll respond to the call dispatch like 10 times. Where we're going again, you know, finally get there, start taking care of the patient, and then all of a sudden the rip and run comes through.
Day late and a buck short.
Exactly. So just stuff like that. The radio thing is just, it's ridiculous. You know, and like he said, you know, somebody's gonna get hurt. It already cost us 3 calls in the last couple of days because nobody heard the calls go out.
We had a crew on, just nobody could hear it.
Who ended up covering it?
County ended up taking, there was a call down at the Bears Den, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about that until like probably 3 hours afterwards, and, you know, the county had ended up taking it. And mind you, I had my radio on and nothing.
Okay.
So it kind of.
They do not work in any building.
Do you guys get that bonk type noise when it doesn't work? You just get nothing.
Nothing.
My radio gives me the bong type noise when, if I go into like say Tops, or, well,
Right.
Tops is a huge metal building, so
Yeah, you get
I
that
noticed
zone
that
type
in
thing.
Tops, I noticed in my house.
In the police department.
I had to set it near the window for it
Brian's
to
gonna
work.
say dying. It's no good.
You know it's not working though.
Yeah,
When it's
well,
not
it
working-
lets you know because it's like, chirping like every 3 to 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got the radio up, it's loud. Everybody in Tops kind of looks at me like, what? Radio's not working? Turn it down.
Then we decide we wanted kind of a monthly printout recorder or something like, some sort of an ambulance report.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Every
Yeah,
month, just
and-
like,
and that- And then that you guys will get, that's why,
Right, so
you know, I'm
you
sitting here
just-
now asking you
you
guys.
have to wait for the county.
Scott send you anything?
That's been a problem in the
He did send
past.
you some stuff?
They'll say we had to do that before,
Mhm.
several times.
All right.
Okay, so,
Well, we've already
Scott
gone through
did
this.
send her some stuff. It's uploaded into your share folder,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, it's incomplete because we didn't get the county information.
Gotcha.
Well, it's-
An ambulance.
I missed that.
Yeah, we do get an ambulance.
2 would be good, we'll take 1 for sure.
Just so,
Okay.
just let us know that you're all still running. Everything's good. Okay. Good enough then.
And also, to remind you guys as well, this is our 50th year.
So we'll be promoting that to a certain extent. We'll do some paper ads and get some
Yeah,
stuff
I
on the
think
building
Make a big deal out of it.
and,
Might even throw a knockdown, drag-out party.
Well, we
With
can
having
certainly
police
put some
presence.
stuff on our new website.
50 years.
Do it on the website too.
Mhm. Maybe we can get some pictures and stuff and put them in our,
50 year, what year?
something on there.
No, what year?
1968.
68, when the ambulance, that's right, it was all totally not run by the fire department back then.
yeah, I've actually got some of the run logs from
You know,
1966.
walking, the ambulance guys walk around with Flectrons.
Yeah. I remember them coming up with my grandfather. It was 1971, and it was a station wagon, a red and white station wagon with a
Yeah.
little light on the top,
Gumball.
you know?
I got some pictures, we're doing shadow boxes in the main entrance coming into our building. I've been putting together memorabilia and stuff like that in the shadow boxes.
Police department ran it for years.
Yeah, they get a call, they park the police car and go get the
Mhm.
Yeah.
Alfred used to
Long
do
before I
that.
came here, thank goodness. but-
I know, right?
They had
Poor
an
patient.
old black ambulance. Gumball on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have to work with that and see what we can get going. Do you all have a website?
Yeah, we do.
Is it up to date or?
No, we're working on it.
Okay.
Nostalgia's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Floyd Sick called and asked if we could help the ambulance pour a sidewalk in the rear. What did we finally decide after all that? Remember that?
Well, we okayed taking care of the storm drain, and the sidewalks or something else, if it's not in the, along the right of way. You're talking about the one out under the parking lot, aren't you?
Yeah, it's on the backside, it's just all deteriorated
Mhm.
and coming apart, so.
Then one out front also, I mean, it's not a right of way, but one that comes right out our door is deteriorating as well.
Mhm. Technically, we shouldn't be doing that.
Well, we didn't
Not
even,
gonna do anything anyway before the good weather comes back, so.
well, we didn't know if, you know, even if we
Tomorrow.
were in the program or could get into the program and get it done and,
You know, 'cause that's, technically, that's just for the regular,
Right.
public right-of-ways.
sure.
And we do a little bit more sometimes from the right-of-way up to the door of houses, but
Right.
I guess we'd have to take a look at that. I know that we ran into that problem with the storm drain,
Yeah,
and we worked it out so it was in the contract.
right. So is it on your radar for this one?
Okay. Where do we stand on that contract? Have I signed that?
I just.
I've signed so many things, I
I
don't,
just don't have the updates to put into it.
okay. I've signed so many things I forget. I know I've done Groveland and a few others. I'm not sure if we've done the one with the ambulance company. Okay.
Are there any new contracts for this year, Megan? Or everything is all the ones I saw were dated last year?
Nope, there are new contracts for this year. And I think Shannon Grease was bringing them to you because he got the mail at the PD.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think some of those had to be changed.
Because the ambulance has a mailbox. And as far as the name on there, you just draw a line through it and write the new one.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause some of those had Scott's name on it as director, so.
They all will because they were started in September.
Gotcha.
So that's just normal, so draw a line through it and write your name.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So every single one of those I can sign?
Yes.
Okay, so I was gonna just have him sign all the ones.
No, you can sign them.
Okay,
Yeah.
We know what's going on.
okay.
Right. So all you got there, Mike, for ambulance?
That's all I got.
Larry, Skip,
Brandon.
Okay.
we'll go to Chief of Police then.
Yep.
All things considered, the line of work we're in, things are good. Everybody's working hard, things are getting done. It's just too bad there's things to do. Looking at the report you've got there for December, you guys did a good job. There's activity out there to be had, and they did their best to catch up to it. So persons charged and number of charges both went up by more than a third. 35, 36%. So a year ago in 2016, they filed 1,300 plus charges. This year they filed over 2,000. So there's business, there's activity. But a lot of other things stay pretty consistent, which typically is, as weird as it is, things do stay kind of consistent year to year. So not any one significant highlight or low light, other than quite a few more charges filed, but that you'll have that when you have the staffing that you need. That's the benefit of having a better number of officers working. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot of questions or comments. The report there is, we've been using that same report for a lot of years because it works, it's simple and not too awfully involved. It gives a highlight from the criminal aspect, the traffic aspect, kind of covers all the bases. But there are a few lines on there that aren't really necessary anymore. The dispatcher's overtime line and dispatcher's line is not necessary, so if there's something somebody would think they would like to know about, a topic that has some merit to it, we could fill a couple spaces in there, and we've got a line like fuel for animal control, we don't use that anymore. So there's 3 or 4 lines there if somebody thinks of a particular item that they might be more interested in than what those are, which is absolutely nothing. Give me a holler, let me know what it is, and we can reshuffle things there and put some more information in there if it's helpful. I do have one question. Village ordinances. In the past, for the most part, most of the village ordinance issues, unless it comes down to a trial, which I'm a witness in, I've just handled them. Many years ago, the district attorney's office took the position that we can prosecute our own village ordinance issues. The village attorney at that time, again, we're going back 20 years now, was also agreed with that position that we could prosecute our own cases. For example, the state police prosecute their own traffic charges. So there's no problem doing that, and we've done that right along for the most part, unless in fact I was the witness, and then that kind of got a little, me questioning myself got a little silly. So in those cases, we use the village attorney. Right now, I don't know if it's just confusion or what, but there seems to be the village attorney is involved right from the get-go, and I just don't know if that's absolutely necessary. And I don't know if the village board needs to approve technically every time the village attorney is going to be hired, if you will, to handle a situation. Something to think about if there's a way we want to handle that as far as, you know, getting with the judges and getting with the village attorney and coordinating that we're not spending money if we don't need to spend money on some of the more.
I would agree with that. I mean, it's
On
a
the
system
initial
that's worked
stages.
for all that time.
Yeah, in initial stages, there's just things that we can just handle downstairs ourselves and, you know.
Why don't you swing by here in the morning,
Okay.
give me some examples and stuff rather than delay everything up here, but
Yeah, no big. it's
I
no
would have
big
thought
deal.
most of that stuff, other than some of the big cases we've had,
Yeah,
you know, involving some of our real charmers.
yeah.
I
But-
should say uncooperative people.
Yeah, and those things so far, well, I some of those have been local village ordinances as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good year for people with difficult personalities to work with.
Yeah,
So that question, I'll see you in the morning then.
okay.
And other than that, I don't think there's-
Overall, I guess I agree with Robin. If we can handle it, then let's,
No sense spending money.
yeah.
You did a good job too, Jerry, on that. And everybody who was involved with the tree on Park Ave, getting that done. And it was pretty quick.
Well,
All things considered.
we've been fighting with it since, what, October?
Yeah, but still.
So, you know, the break finally came was where you anticipate it comes from the neighbors. You know, you just keep asking the neighbors, keep your eyes out. If you see anybody over there, call us and tell us. Well, one neighbor went the extra distance and actually went over and did their own interview and got names, addresses, and phone numbers.
And they're now on the payroll.
I come home and my door knocks at 9 o'clock at night. Hey, I got this information. Perfect. So, and it actually, for a change of number, the number actually worked, and I got in contact with the guy, and we exchanged some emails, and he finally understood that he needed to do something. He wanted a couple names for tree contractors, provided those. He, as you know now, he hired one, and they cleaned up the mess yesterday.
Well, technically, by state law, they've got to be inspecting these vacant buildings on a regular basis. The law specifies what they're supposed to do
And I
as
think,
soon as they, one of their properties goes vacant like that.
yeah, I think the initial company was, and then what happened right around the time the tree went down is it's changing companies.
Yeah,
So
it
got
went
hung
to a
up
new
in that.
company.
Yeah.
And I sent letters out, and I got no response, and some of the letters came back. I learned an attorney in Florida, and got delivered, it came back to me. And, so one of the neighbors did a good job, Sue there did a great job, and grabbed the information and passed it on, and it actually worked, and they cut the stuff up, and the chips went to the sewer plant, so that saved us, got some free composting material, so it all worked out.
Good.
Good job.
Yep.
Great. Okay. Any
Sure
que-
looks better too.
Yeah, it did look better.
Yeah.
Well, just the idea of somebody not getting hurt now.
Yeah. They got the branch off the top of the house?
Yep,
Good.
go.
Pretty good, that kid's good.
So other than that, we're just moving into the new year, trying to keep up the pace.
Anybody got any questions of the chief? The only thing that leaves is the justice reports, and they're in the share folder, so. We move down then to budget, finance, and audit. Trustee Rittenhouse isn't here, but we do have a few things. Something's changed since earlier today. There will be some budget mods, but they aren't in the folder yet. You didn't get them in, did you?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So keep looking there this week and for next Tuesday night. Also, Megan, I just had a question on the, have we heard anything yet from the state on the audit?
Last month, I think maybe just before Christmas, they had asked me for a copy of something. I don't remember what it was, if I can send it to them, because they were ready to submit it for review. but I don't know how long that review process takes. So the auditors that were here were done with their process. So then it just had to go on to the next step. I did finally get from our annual audit management letter that I just have to review and sign off on, just basically saying that everybody held up their end of the deal.
Have we gotten I haven't seen the final report other than the draft.
Right, so, yeah, so that email just came through today, but I'll forward it to everybody. The only change that was in the draft was the part that I had questioned where they said that we overexpended on line items because we didn't overexpend because the board did the resolution that Brian could make the adjustments.
Right.
So we just had to provide that proof, and so that's the only change.
Okay.
So we're fairly close to getting that.
Okay, good. All right, and I think we're still going through the budget preparation, some other things with the holidays and everything else. The codification sort of taking a priority at the moment. I'll be getting with the department heads to go over their sections of it. We'll probably go over the whole thing one more time before I give it to the board. Hopefully, by the beginning of March, you should have it, if not a little sooner. See how things go with that. And the other thing we need to take a look at is actually establishing, we treat the fire, ambulance, and compensated absences as reserves. And you'll see down a lot of the paperwork that Megan comes out with, but we haven't officially established those as reserves, and we probably should. So we'll discuss that a little bit further next week. Something we certainly need to take a look at.
And if you can get into your share folders, I know the tablets aren't working great, but if you have a different computer at home or something, you can get into the share folder. We have the folder that's labeled reserves, and all of that information still stands. So when you go to the fund balance spreadsheet and you'll see ambulance, fire, comp absences, those are the amounts that we should be establishing the reserves at this time. And then we will add to them at the end of this fiscal year, whatever was earned this year.
Okay. And for the ambulance's information, that's the MedX money. That's where that goes. Okay, let's see. Public Works. Just a real quick one, Scott. Have you heard from Greg at all as far as sitting down with FEMA people?
No,
Or whoever up there?
He didn't mention it, no, and I didn't know. I can check with him
Yeah.
to see.
Water and Sewer, Trustee Humphrey.
All right, before Scott gets into, I don't know what part you want to get into the water and sewer laws, but you want to move that to the front.
Yeah,
What we thought, Pete, is that for everyone, Scott and I talked about it, and it's been just so long since we've been trying to get MRB to give us the stuff that we wanted, and then John's got to review it and whatnot. It's gotten pretty close to where I think, and Scott and I talked about it, my suggestion or recommendation would be to disband the committee and then just bring everything to the board members now and let us all look at it and go
Okay.
from there. There's a couple extra things. Scott, you can go ahead with what.
well, it's just
What
two
Bill
items that
said.
we talked about. Pete was involved the other day.
Oh, that's right, you were in on that.
And for the other board members, really the two biggest hurdles we have to get over right now are units, trying to figure out like the commercial units.
How to
the
charge
base
each
charges, if you will. I think I'm coming up with some pretty good ideas. Called 50 people, and there's 50 different ways that everybody does it. So,
I called a couple, and both of them, Bath and Avoca, they got rid of the abatements.
Oh,
There's
abatements.
no more abatements.
I talked to John. Did you talk to John today, Megan?
I did.
Okay, he must have mentioned abatements.
No, John did not. No, him and I didn't talk about abatements, but
Oh, he.
Bill had highlighted items in the law that he sent
did,
him,
right.
so that was probably one of them.
Okay, so John brought it up also today. And,
John Vogel?
Right, I talked to him today, and he's actually reviewing the laws, or his portion of the water law. The sewer's pretty well finished, so we're good there. Other than, a few tweaks that we do to water will make the sewer match. But he kind of thought, maybe it was a good idea to abandon it. I think there's always going to be a situation where we need to do it. There'll be something that'll come up But, you know, for somebody that just leaves the area to go to Florida in the winter or whatever, you know.
We could put something in the law to the effect that, you know, something that says that it's up to the discretion of the board to address particular situations. You know, we don't want it to become a practice or anything, but if you got something unusual comes up, or something that nobody's ever encountered before, so you don't have the collective memory, to, you know, be able to make a quick adjustment on that without getting into trouble and say, well, you did it for this person.
That's why I think we just said,
Yeah,
if we're gonna.
you know, it's like something where the board would have to be unanimous in the vote on that.
So
But-
really, that's probably the two biggest hurdles to get over, and then I think we'll have them done.
Okay,
And we should be able to meet the deadline for the codification.
good.
So I don't know if we needed to make, do we have to have a motion for the committee thing type to get? I think we
No,
just-
because I don't think it was really,
Get together to.
you know, it was an ad hoc committee to begin with. I mean, it's not like the planning board or the ZBA where that would require probably a vote if you're going to make any changes to them.
And really, the members are all still involved anyways. Matt's involved, Karen,
Yeah.
and John.
So you guys have been, actually Scott and Megan and Karen, and they've been doing a lot of the work.
So the other item that you might hear something about, the health department's been pushing, and they have for quite a few years, RPZs and double check valves in certain, you know, restaurants or any place that has a possibility of backflow into the system. So like the fire department hooks on and sucks the water, it could, you know, backflow something in. So we've implemented, I think they put out 20 letters maybe. The guys are going around to, you know, various businesses. We're going to start with, you know, the high hazards first, get those accomplished. I think Hindle's Funeral Home and Baird's and so on and so forth, over the years, we've taken care of those guys. You know, they have to be inspected once a year. But the big ticket item is they have to be engineered, you know, if you have somebody that needs an RPZ. So you might hear something about that. You might get a call, Pete, or whatever. So just so you know that we've started to basically enforce that, if you will.
So the engineering would be on the part of the business.
Right, and they can use, we are offering our engineer, if they can't find an engineer, so if they got somebody they can call. But they, yes, they can use anybody they want.
Okay.
But then once a year, they have to hire, and really the only fella in town is Al Fidel, he works over the hospital. He inspects those, and he actually does ours for us.
Okay.
So they're really clamping down on that. So,
Not surprising.
don't hear anything. Let's see. In the sewer side, Dougie Coble, we need to take care of that. I don't know if you have that on a different.
I have that on there. In fact, we might want to just go ahead and vote on that tonight. Everything is
Yeah.
so no up and up with him now. We can go ahead and give him our blessing. He's once again an operator down there.
Right.
So, anybody want to talk about it? Megan, do you want to bring anything into the conversation?
Just that
You deal with them regularly.
I agree that the vote should happen tonight
Mhm.
because the memorandum of understanding states that upon receiving the certificate of eligibles list, which we have, and he's passed and he's the only name on it, that he would be hired immediately. So that would be tonight's meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, have a motion from Trustee Humphrey to hire Doug as an operator down at the wastewater treatment plant. Do I have a second? Second from Trustee Nagel. He raised his hand. That's all.
He was itchy. He got an itch.
Is there any discussion? I think everybody here is fully aware of what went on with that situation, and finally we got it all rectified
It's off our plate.
and put that behind us. And as we go forward, hopefully we'll have no more of these, but I think we're pretty well up to date on everybody else, right?
We are.
Okay, so got a motion and a second, no discussion. Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Nagel?
And I.
And the mayor's an aye. So, brief Doug in the morning, either one of you. He's good to go. Go back and do all the things he was doing before. This time, on the up and up. Well, it wasn't, it was on the up and up before, we just didn't realize there was a problem.
It was just paperwork.
Yeah. I just don't want anybody saying we didn't bend over backwards for this particular situation. We've done it now a couple of times for those guys down there, so. All right. What else you got?
I've had some discussions with LMC, Rich Rosari, on our charges.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might be there. Waiting for the approval from Larry on 36,000 or 38,000, whatever.
Okay.
it might be. So hopefully we'll get that behind us and get a bill sent out, get that moving forward.
Good, good job.
We have an issue, I talked to Pete a little bit, but up on Main Street, in front of Charlie Drum's house, the sewer lateral is shifted off the main. Joe Longini says probably when they did Main Street construction. So there's one outfit, Sewer Specialties, we've used them before, they're like $3,000 a day.
This one out of Lester?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They're about the only guys around here that do that kind of work. There's other companies, but they're way more than Sewer Specialties. So I'm going to find another spot, which I have one now, down on Clinton Street, that's out by the main. We have to figure out if it's our problem or the homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the 15th of this month, we're going to come down and see if we can, hopefully we can fix the one that Charlie's on Main, so we don't have to dig up Main Street. It's 8 foot in the ground.
Yeah, we've done this before with these Main Street properties, the Liuzzi's and Dave Knight's place. Yeah, it was it was a result of them not replacing stuff when they put the new street in or rebuilt the street, and the state's not going to do anything about it. So we're sort of, and these people are just left high and dry. So we've sort of taken it upon ourselves to fix them as they pop up.
And the other item, which is water, is a dam property. I know we're going to take a couple guys up to look at it. He just called and asked if it was moving forward. So I guess I need to get a couple of guys up there so we can take a look at it, make sure everybody's happy.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I know you're not working, what, next Monday or this coming Monday?
Oh, call me, I'll take you.
Okay, I'm off, so I don't.
Yeah, call me, I'll run you up.
Anybody wants to take a look at the maps, I still got them here that show the old and the new lines on them, so hopefully that'll be taken care of.
Anything, Scott, did we do anything on the grease traps? Did we come to the final?
No, we just have to start enforcing those also.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was just.
It's more of an enforcement thing rather than any kind of legislation that's required. They've got
I
to.
know it was a while ago.
Mhm.
but
We're
probably should
also
get
right
that
in the
going.
middle of a sanitary survey. It's for all the industrial users throughout the village. That's another one we have to have done for the DEC. And that also falls in with our sewer use laws, they have to be approved. So there's a lot.
What's
going
the
on
grease
here.
traps?
Grease traps, each of your restaurants or anybody who uses like deep fryers and that, they've got to have a grease trap to keep the stuff from going down through the sewer system, because when it gets into the sewer system, it just
That's what I thought.
clogs
It's just
right
like
up.
our homes if you don't grease or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
down
You know how it clogs up your line.
Yeah, I thought that's probably what you're talking about.
We've had trouble with one restaurant in town that's
Not doing it.
not doing it.
Okay.
That's something that,
Fix it.
He's improved, let's put it that way.
yeah. They can, I don't think, well, it's either a grease trap or they have to ship it out, right? Can't they do one or the other?
No, they need both. There's the grease itself, I mean, they're supposed to ship that out.
Mm-hmm.
The grease trap is just to catch, when they're washing dishes. And,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. They can't take a fryer to dump it.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, sell it to somebody and they can use it as biofuel.
They do that.
I know.
They do that. That's our next
That's
project.
It's actually, I think that's where it comes from.
Okay. One of the other things we've got, you got anything else, Scott, before I got on my list here?
Nope.
Okay, the certificates of substantial completion need to be reviewed and approved so that we can sign off on them. That's on the wastewater treatment plant. We just got the notice today too that the final MWBE report was accepted. Will be
Nice.
so so we're almost there.
Thank God.
And okay, you should have in your share folder some concerns expressed by Karen. They date back to May on some of the billing issues that she's been having problems with. It's not customers as much as it's with software. So if you get a chance to take a look at that, and we can discuss it more next week. And likewise, were you able to get that into the one on Bike Swingers? Okay, there's one there on Bike Swingers too with their water sewer bill. And I don't know if you wanted to mention there were some things that you were concerned about on that, Megan?
Yeah,
Or if you just want me to just tell everybody, take a look at everything she sent you.
take a look at everything that's in the sheriff folder. When Karen had submitted the letter to the board, she also copied me in on it. And I did some research, so following her letter is documents from the research that I did. I guess I would just say read all of it and ask me, let me know if you have questions.
And let's see, we've done Doug, so I think that's it on water and sewer. And have we heard anything back? Well, let me switch over here to Trustee Zay on the streets.
There you go.
It's all yours.
My first question would be, have we heard anything back from concerning the Seward Street Bridge culvert?
No, they were authorized to do the bores, but I haven't
Yeah, I'd
seen
like
any
to.
results yet. So I
I
can,
don't want to wait till the last minute to.
yeah, I don't know why they haven't done them. That'd be too cold for them, I don't know. I'll check with Greg. on
Today was a beautiful day to be out
They
there.
haven't done a test or anything, or?
No, no boring that I know of.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably not that important.
And of course, along with the truck, with the fire truck, there's also the excavator and the dump truck conversations we have to have. Again, we might as well wait till get everybody present on that.
I did get a price too on the smaller dump with the plow equipment. I'll just put it in the sheriff folder, you guys can look at it.
Okay.
So, it's actually more than the time
I was
already.
gonna say and compare,
Yep, I'll send that to you guys.
Okay.
regardless, I see on there, one of them's gotta be replaced, so we need something.
Yep. Okay.
One more item.
Sure.
I'd just like permission from you guys just to go ahead and, we talked about the trucks, pickup trucks, to just go in and bidding one out just to see where they come in.
Yeah.
I'd like to bid it out, that way the local guys can get a shot at it,
Good idea.
I would agree with
Yep.
that.
just so Megan can put it in the paper.
You were talking about used ones too, right?
Yeah, well, it's gonna be hard to find a used one, it really is. We'll probably, I know we can buy
I
one.
see them on the lots down there.
I'll go down and check the price tag.
I'm just saying if you work out a deal,
Trust me,
maybe.
if I could get a used one, I know where we could get them, and let me tell you, they're bringing a lot of money to the trucks, it's amazing.
They got a 15 Dodge or something down there, it's like almost $30,000 for that 2015 Dodge.
That's crazy.
1,500, just half-ton pickup truck.
Or we could get a Cadillac cheaper than that.
I mean, that's just.
Yeah, chief.
I'd be curious too if Scott was interested in seeing what the bid come in on one of the many
I
dumps.
looked into that, Charlie, and
I'm just curious to see what they come in, but I don't know if you maybe know off the top of your head, so maybe not.
well, they'll probably come in about the same, because they all get about the same discounts now. The manufacturers.
You know, the ones like our red ones?
No, just a straight pickup truck.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
curious about the actual little red.
Yeah, you get more
Yeah.
use.
Oh, the red dump.
Yeah, the ones we use for plowing.
I don't know what those are, tonnage wise, is that a 1 ton? Is
But are
that?
you saying we're gonna replace one of them too? Is that one?
I got weird thoughts in my head.
We don't have time.
You don't have time, but it might help you out, so I'm just curious what the price of one of
Yeah.
those many dumps are.
Well, they're 50 grand with the dump on it. Pretty much. And the pickup truck's 30 grand.
Pretty, yeah, some of them, we need to look into those pickup trucks. Those pickup trucks are pretty rough.
Yeah.
At least two of
Well,
them.
one's been traded in, right?
We did sell that one.
We did sell one.
Yeah, it's the burgundy one.
What'd we sell that, what'd they,
350.
you said about 300.
It's junk. They bring junk.
And I guess Bob's is in the garage right now.
Yeah, it's, you know, we're putting money into it, that's a problem, you know, it's like Charlie's old police cars, once they get to that point, might as well have them gone. But yeah, I think it's just a line leaking on it now.
Yeah,
I think it's from when they changed the radiator, but we'll see. I haven't heard.
okay.
So talk about that more on,
Next week.
regular meeting?
Yeah. Just a conversation with all that.
Along with 10-wheeler and excavator, right?
Yeah, and the fire truck.
And fire truck,
2 ambulances.
2 ambulances.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
One at least.
Partridge in a pear tree.
Do we need a motion from the look of the bids, or just, no?
I mean, to go out and look, no, he
You
can
just
go,
get bids, I mean,
yeah, he can just go out and take a look.
I think we need a motion for it.
Well, if you want to give him the blessing of the board, we can do that right now. You just go ahead and get bids. We're not committing ourselves to anything.
Just getting the bids.
No, you want that? Yeah. I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have
Scott
a-
goes and
Motion from trustee Nagel and a second from trustee Zay, I bet.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Any discussion?
I'd like to, as far as the pickup goes, I think I'd like to get the idea of, just getting an idea of what it costs for the, was it 3/4 ton or whatever we have
Yep.
now?
Yep.
Because you just throw stuff in the back of that just as much, or just as well, I don't know,
You talking about dump or pickup?
the dump. Like the one that we have now,
that's about a ton and a half.
or ton
Yeah,
and a
that's
half, or
a
whatever.
1-ton truck.
Duals on the back, yeah.
I want to get just a regular pickup that is a 1-ton, so that we can pull around the mini excavator with it. Because like right now, the only truck we have to pull around has a salter on it. So, you know, like tomorrow if it rains, like right now, the mini's down at the plant.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We get a flood tomorrow, or like they're talking about, I'll need the mini over on Clay Street. So it makes it hard to move it.
Kennel hitch kind of thing?
It's in the back, the fifth wheel hitch.
Oh, fifth wheel hitch.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. So go get some prices.
Bring some numbers there. See where,
See where it all falls out anyway.
we got a lot of numbers.
Okay, Parks and Rec. Trustee Zay, you got anything for that? I've got one item, other than, I guess, the Christmas lights and stuff, which is certainly, it's a great idea.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think-
On the 17th of this month, at 7 o'clock in the evening here in my office, we've got a gentleman coming down from One Cell or On Cell or something out of Rochester. It's part of this historical district project I've been working on with a few of the people here in the area. He's going to give a presentation on, I guess it's On Cell, where you can go on your cell phone, it'll have a tour and everything right on there of downtown. See, the committee's been looking at both markers as well as this On Cell, and it'll give us an idea, maybe some recommendations what to do. It's a gentleman by the name, I think it's Tom Rapp. So, and they've done jobs elsewhere around that gotten a lot of recognition. So, anybody that's interested in that, and then again, the idea for this whole project is to get people to come to the downtown area to observe the historical nature of the place that we had designated historical district several years ago, but there's nothing there to tell you what's historical about it. You know, we've got a lot of things down there that could be very interesting to people who like to go around the communities and find out, you know, a little bit about their history. So, and I think also with this On Cell, they got, if you go drive by the community, it's on 390, your cell phone will ping saying, oh, by the way, you might want to stop here. And that would be it gives people a reason for going downtown, and if nothing else, you might stop into some of the stores or certainly into a restaurant and use the facilities there. It might bring some money. So it's sort of it's not just historical, it's an economic driver. But this historical tourism is becoming quite the thing.
And the ambulance numbers will go up from all the rear end accidents.
Well, let's hope we don't get quite that drastic. Oh, that'd be nice if it was bumper to bumper, wouldn't it?
Sure it was.
Might be if we get these Christmas
I
lights.
tell you, we could be one of these places, don't you go, when I was in Texas, over Christmas, they were visiting my daughter. And this one community down there, they have a big public park right down around where all their public buildings are and everything. And they do that. They have a drive-through, and it's just continuous lights and scenes, and a lot like what he was talking
Turn
about.
it
I didn't know the one in Avon, they had one in East Avon.
Did they?
That does that. They
Turn the
charge
music on
20
the
bucks.
radio and you listen.
Yeah. Get the whole show. In fact, they had people not only lined up going into the place, but out along the state highway right to the interstate. We got down there, says, I guess we're not going in there, so we turned around, came home. Kids wouldn't wait that long. They had police, everybody out there directing traffic. It was quite the show.
Pete, couldn't we get a commitment maybe out of the town in the village so the guy can get rolling? I mean,
Yeah, we can talk with Denny.
yeah.
I'll approach him tomorrow. Sounds like they're agreeable to it, and if the board doesn't have any objections, I can talk with Dennis about if we can at least give a heads up to the guy, and
I'm
we
sure.
can worry about the money later.
I think it's a great idea, and
Yeah.
I think that we could definitely get some.
It'd be just like this business with the tourism, the markers and everything. If you got some reason for people to come here,
Lions Club want to donate a little bit too, you know.
I think Lions, Rotary,
Yeah.
and the businessmen and women in the community.
I think you could raise $5,000 really quick.
Yeah, that-
Once they saw it.
That's what I'm
really get
thinking
behind
too.
it.
When he said $5,000, is really that's all?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And if you were gonna hire somebody to really come in and do it, he's probably right 20 grand,
Mhm.
you know?
They'd probably save
That
us
was
just a
a little
manpower,
dollar
$1,000 time we put them up, buy the lights,
Yeah.
take them down. It's a lot of work.
Plus,
Piece of snowflakes.
next year we can use them again, plus whatever else you want us to do with it.
That's right.
We can always go back and roll it.
Poor Tammy's over there, what am I gonna do with my lights?
I'm not so sure that's still not a bad idea to have
No.
both.
It's just how she put it, you know?
I know.
I think if we take a vote, you're outvoted, Pete.
Pardon?
I said, I think if a vote goes around, you're outvoted.
How many horses it take to
Don't be cheap.
No, I don't have to do that guy, let him go all around. Let's have a heck of a show.
Absolutely.
$300.
Main Street will be bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
$300 for the snowflakes, yeah, that's right, how much does it cost? to put
No,
them up?
actually, this is the interesting thing. She went out and earlier we found that the snowflakes were the cheapest ones to get. Turns out the candy canes and the candles, which are colors, not just white, they're cheaper. They're down in the 200 range, which still seems like a lot of money, but affordable. Certainly, you don't have to do every pole, but you could certainly do some of them.
I think this guy's plan is to bring more people in.
I think the whole nice thing, you open it up for, usually everything's online in time for Winter in the Village. It
Look
could
what
be a
the tree
good,
did.
it
Look
could
at
be a
the
big
attention
bump.
the tree got.
It'd be a big bump for that, and of course, then you have it right through New Year's. Maybe we could even work something in with our own little ball dropping.
He had just the one screen at Wayne and Don's house,
New Year's Eve.
and that was busy over there for
Where's-
Halloween.
Where was this?
At Stanley's.
Stanley's, yeah, I
That was
heard.
busy over there.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people watching that thing.
They had to block off the street.
I was gonna say, didn't they have to block off the street, right?
Yeah.
That thing was busy over there.
Keep figuring 1,500.
You run
Really?
up and down Main Street like that, it'll be,
We'll have
That'll
to,
be cool, I like that.
Yeah.
we'll have to put in for a
Auxiliary.
mass gathering permit with the state.
have to have your,
No guns allowed.
state command plan. Have to get Niedermeyer down here.
I'm gonna throw your 100 in too, Norm, just so you know that forward.
I like your thinking there.
Okay. Now we've beaten those up. Let's see, what else is it? Let's see, has everybody seen the new website? Had a chance to look at it?
Haven't had a chance.
Well,
yet. No.
It's nice.
It's
I'm
nice.
doing a little bit on here.
Yeah. There's some things we need to work on it, but for the first
We're getting there.
presentation,
really
it looks
nice,
good.
though.
Yeah, it's
not-
cleaner.
You
And,
guys did a good job.
yeah. So,
You can pull our website up on your phone too.
Yeah.
It's the mobile app.
see, we've already talked about codification and the website, and
Dansville
where's the GIS? Do we know where that's standing right?
They're going, actually, Aaron came down last week and got a bunch of old maps.
Mhm.
They digitized all those. He actually was coming today, but he got called away. He's coming back tomorrow to go down in the basement. We're gonna go through all those.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're moving right along with that.
Good.
Actually, a little faster than I thought they were, and it's kind of hard on the budget, just so you know. So,
We'll get through it.
yeah.
No sweat. Plenty to burn.
I don't have a budget, man.
Got a lot of that MedX money we could use.
Larry maintains it. Wait for him to get out of his chair.
Oh, just a little lighthearted in this area. Also, I'm sure Megan hasn't had time to do this.
New York.
Where do we stand on the credit card business for the pay online stuff? Have we looked any at that in the last month or so?
No,
I did have a question on that today. Somebody asked me about it.
okay.
I just said, well, right now we just have the police, no, the courts are the only ones.
Yeah, so we were thinking if we're gonna try it, push my luck here, if we're gonna try it, out of the whole year, when we looked at our calendar and what we have to do every month for a whole year, February was the best month in a year to do it.
Okay.
Why was that, Megan? What was
Why?
your theory of doing it in February?
Why was, as far as taking on an extra project in the
Oh,
clerk's
oh,
office,
oh,
and
oh.
all of that is gonna fall on me.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily gonna fall on whoever's doing the water and sewer billing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for my schedule,
2018.
we were thinking February, but now with the general code stuff, we might,
What?
let me look again and
Yeah.
see if I can find a different month in the year that it would be best to
You might
try
want
it
to push it
out.
back a little farther.
You know, and it's difficult. It's difficult because if Karen does choose to retire, it would have been ideal to still have her here for that trial. You know, so if she does choose to retire, we might just want to push it out a little more.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can look at that again, and I don't know if I ever put that information in the share folder.
I don't think
I
so.
I didn't see
I don't remember
No.
seeing it in there, so I can do that. We had one company that we were happy with at the time when we started doing the research. We should probably get a couple more. Even though the additional fee is going on the user, not the village, we should probably still look at that and make sure we're going with the lowest fee.
Yeah. Yeah.
But these
Was it only
guys,
was it a couple, was it $2? Was it, I can't remember. It was, I didn't think
it
was
was
that much.
very low.
Yeah.
You know, for the people that actually want to use that feature. And the reason we were going to put it on the individual that's using the feature is because we have a lot of people that will never, in our community, that will never use that. So we don't want to spread the cost out to
Right.
everybody.
Right.
So it'll just be the people that want to use it. And I did a webinar with this company, and they were able to format everything the way that I needed it for reporting and reconciling with the Williamson Law Book software and the bank. So there would be certain specific required fields that people had to put in where other companies, I noticed, couldn't edit their fields for me. They were more generic. You know, like how we went through with the website,
Yep.
all that.
So this is what, paid to a bank account, basically, is how it would work?
Yeah, it would be direct deposit into one of our bank accounts.
So you'd have to have a
And
way
then
to...
we would split it out. So whether I had just a clearing account and then some of it goes to water, some of it goes to sewer. That's probably the best option, is to have a clearing account.
Okay. Just curious, I say it's...
Yeah, so I'll do that. I'll upload that to the share folder and I'll refresh our memories with it.
I don't
And I'll
want
look
to put
at the
any more
calendar
down
again.
there than already, you've
I was
already got
gonna
enough
say the
going
same
on.
thing, so
For
when you
right
get to
now,
it,
but
you get
it's
to it.
funny though, because when we looked at it, we thought February,
Yeah.
and now that
Of
it's
2020.
January, we're like,
You just said say what year. So you're good.
Plenty of time. Okay. All right, anybody else have any other business or new business, unfinished?
I'd say that we go past 9 o'clock. Do you need a motion for that? What are you
Almost would say he wants to jump over there and strangle you.
Sorry, I blew off.
If there is nothing, I will, from anybody, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second that.
I'll make the most weight.
Trustee Zay and trustee Nagel.
In that order.
All in favor, say aye. Thank you very much.
No, Dan? 20 days?
Once again, well, I heard that the last meeting though was pretty quick.
Oh, that's right. 10 minutes, that's not bad. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
Hey, Mike,
Especially for the department head one.
let me
If we all had
this.
to talk in here.
And I'll get this all fixed up for you.
That's true.
So that's just the village's website.
Yes.
Yeah, what you should have just